Educate, Inspire, Change. It's an online platform. It's an alternative media website with a big social media following. The idea being to try to educate the viewers, to inspire them to change the world, to be the change that they wish to see in the world, you know. I started the Facebook page itself in 2012. At the time, I was going through some personal problems. I have a son who's 11 years old now, but at the time I wasn't able to see him. I was in a court battle, and after 3 or 4 years of fighting this court battle, being a bit depressed, I was able to see him. And it was on the day I seen him that I went home and I decided to make a change in my life, you know. I started to look at myself through his eyes. And so I went home and I literally turned on my laptop and I came up with 3 words: educate, inspire, change. Because these words resonated deeply with me. They're words that I felt like the world needed more of, more inspiration, more education, more change. And I knew that my son wasn't going to see me very often, you know. So I thought, if I make this online, my purpose, my feelings, what I care about, then hopefully one day when he's older, he'll understand his father better, you know. So this was the original inspiration behind the page, and I started to educate myself by educating other people. I started to learn more about spirituality, nutrition, politics, or just, you know, science, everything, all these different topics that I was sharing information on. I started to educate myself, and it changed a lot in me. I changed my diet, I changed my spiritual beliefs, I changed just my outlook on life, my understanding of how to live, what to eat, all this kind of stuff changed, you know. So it's just been an evolution. As the business has evolved, I evolved with it, you know. People like Alan Watts, Terence McKenna, even scientists like Nikola Tesla, these people have really kind of been inspiring me along the way, for many different reasons, but they all have philosophies of life, you know, and they all are humanitarians. They all work to make the world a better place. They have this in common, you know. So, and they've encouraged me to look deeper inwards, you know. Educate, Inspire, Change. Originally, I was sharing a lot of information about the world, what's happening outside, like war in Palestine, for example, war in Iraq, or poverty, or, you know, in Africa, all this information, you know. And what I realized over the years was people were giving me a feeling of helplessness, like they were powerless to help fix these problems, you know. And I understand that they probably are quite right. It's very, very hard to fix the systems, you know. You need to, you know, enter the system yourself, and you need to work for years and years and years to even make a small change. But what I discovered was what they can do is they can change themselves. So when you can change yourself, the world around you changes, you know. I found that the best way to heal the world is to heal yourself. So this is part of the evolution of my journey, part of the evolution of Educate, Inspire, Change, you know. And the people I follow are people that concentrate on healing yourself. So like I managed Educate, Inspire, Change for 7 years, but I had such a big following, but I was always hiding behind the computer, you know. I had this fear of public speaking, I had this fear of talking, I had this fear of being in the front line, almost like I wasn't good enough. I had a good life, but I would be drinking alcohol regularly, smoking regularly. My relationships were always having problems. I would say like my health wasn't the best, you know. I was in a good place financially, in a good place with my business, but I wasn't in a good place emotionally, you know. I was still finding my way. I was still struggling inside very much. Before, I used to live very much in my head. You know, you have anxiety, you have depression, you're finding escapism through drugs or alcohol or gambling. I was living in my head a lot, you know. So I think finding my purpose, part of that journey was going from my head to my heart. So now I'm living from my heart, and when you live from your heart, you start to speak with confidence, you start to speak with clarity, and you don't have to think about what you're saying, it just comes naturally, you know? So part of my journey has been finding my purpose, has been sharing my message of truth. So instead of being behind the computer creating articles, I felt like I can now be in front of the camera talking my truth. Today, Kash is a man with a purpose today, you know? I feel like I've found my calling, I feel like I found my purpose. I feel like the road ahead for me is very bright, and I'm very focused about where I want to go. You know, I feel like I'm very confident with who I am. I feel like I've found my inner child again. I feel like I've reconnected to my soul. That's where I am today, you know, and it's given me a real sense of understanding with where I want to go with my life, with the kind of life I want to lead, with the way I want to raise my children, with the kind of energy that I want to put out back into the planet.